What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out and supporting this episode of Raised A Geek. This week, we look back at Deadpool 2 as we continue to prepare for Deadpool and Wolverine. Does it hold up as much as Deadpool 1? Let's find out. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with my buddies Don and Tony. How we doing, guys?
Chris, what is up today, my friend? And Tony, my other friend. Two friends, my two only friends. Everything's good. Everything's okay. Another weekend of stuff, major historical events again, as we last week we are talking about historical events. Other stuff's going on in the world. And, I feel like we're going to join here together next week and something else is going to happen. We're going to be like, more. Like Bernie Sanders is just going to pop up and be like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. And like just fucking rise up and be the guy.
Hey, as long as he comes out on like a floor through a stage and he just gets like rised up with smoke, I'm down.
Bernie. Yeah,
that's gonna make it be as dramatic as possible.
Yeah, but I'm good.
Doing good. Just another week of work and then hanging with you guys doing this. So yeah, things are good.
I can concur. Been playing some NCAA football 25, trying to remember how to play a football game. And I'm realizing as I'm looking through all these tips that people understand football way more than I do. So they were like, I was reading all these tips and they were like, well, the biggest thing you want to do is you want to run an RPO if they're running a cover 3. But if they're covering a cover 2, you could probably fake them out by disguising your play. And I was like, I'm never going to. I'm just like, throw a ball, run. Like I was like, okay, people are going to be way better and I don't know what's happening. So it's been very confusing to learn how to play football games again because it's been a minute since I bought Madden 23 and didn't play it.
It's not quite the NFL Blitz that you remember from back in the 90s.
Give me some NFL Blitz. That was like the NBA Jam of football.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, what game had a bigger impact, NBA Jam or NFL Blitz? Or what was like the funner one?
I think NBA Jam was like the biggest one.
Yeah.
But NFL Blitz was fun.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with Blitz just because you could pass interfere. So I just always loved tackling people before they could catch the ball.
Yeah, it wasn't real football. It was just fun.
Over the top pile drivers and stuff. So trying to scratch a football itch as we wait for NFL season. Been a minute since Don and I had a chance to talk about sports on our podcast about geek stuff.
Well, this is the worst time of the year for sports because everything's over except baseball, which is fine unless both your baseball teams in your town suck, and they both do. So I don't care.
You have two teams to at least split the difference. I don't have any.
Texas Rangers. It's right there in the name. Texas. They represent the
whole
in
Dallas.
But
too far away. They are so far away that I don't get their games. They're out of market.
Oh, they won't even televise them to you guys?
No, they're out of market. Houston's out of market for me too. I don't get baseball. I get whatever's on ESPN.
When you name a team after the entire state should get to watch the team.
The state's too big. The state's too big. Should have never let us be this big.
All the more reason for you to move back to Chicago.
Then I'd have two baseball teams again.
See, you make up for that lost time.
But they suck. So
yeah. So, Deadpool 2. We're talking about Deadpool 2. We're gonna dive into Deadpool 2. I got a little synopsis that IMDb gave me. You ready to hear it?
Yeah, man, we're gonna keep this train rolling from last week, and all in preparation of Deadpool Wolverine.
Who's got their tickets? Who's got their tickets?
I didn't get mine yet.
I did get some.
Yeah.
Because Thursday is the best night for me to see it. So I'm gonna see it there on Thursday night. So no spoilies, please.
No spoilers yet? You didn't get spoiled? You didn't watch the final trailer and get spoiled?
No, I've been avoiding it.
Avoiding, but we'll see. You know how stuff likes to slip in there when you're not least expecting it. So
being careful. Slip in there. It's gonna slip in there real hard once it comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I might have to wait till Saturday to see it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I need to check for tickets again. But Deadpool Wolverine is now just a few days away, and it'll only be about a day away from when you're listening to us. So happy Deadpool Wolverine Eve for all you listeners who listen to us first thing. Those who wait will have to wait. And you'll be like, oh, I already saw Deadpool Wolverine. Then you realize we did this episode 6 months ago.
You're going to listen to us anyway.
Yeah. You're behind on your podcast. You got to catch up. Deadpool number 2. Foul-mouthed mutant mercenary Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, assembles a team of fellow mutant rogues to protect a young boy with abilities from the brutal time-traveling cyborg Cable, played by Josh. It's not
That's
that
it in a nutshell.
exciting. I could do the Disney Plus synopsis where it says the sequel to the first one.
That's what it said. That's all it said. When I watched it, I did notice that. It was like one sentence, real easy.
What was the show we were watching? Maybe was it Mandalorian when they did their description and it was just like people talk and things happen and it was like, wait, that's what happens on every TV show. But it wasn't like a show like this where you imagine them to be funny. It was like Mandalorian or some kind of Star Wars where it was like people talk and actions are taken and you're just like, no one put any effort into that synopsis.
I feel like that's been a recent theme of shows to like kind of be clever with their descriptions as to not give anything away and just be like,
yeah, maybe
minimalist, whatever. Maybe Deadpool started that, but I don't know. It is kind of a thing that's been happening, but funny nonetheless.
Funny nonetheless. So overall thoughts of Deadpool 2. Tony, you said you watched this one almost more than you watched the original one. But I don't remember if it's been still a minute since you watched it.
It's been a minute since I watched it in its entirety, so it was good to see it all again. But yeah, I think I just kept catching it like it would be on while I was flipping channels, and it was like, all right, I'll watch the tail end of this, more than the original. But yeah, it was nice to go back and watch it again and remember all the things that I forgot and catch those jokes again for the first time. So yeah.
But did you like it?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's hard to follow up something that we enjoyed as much as the first one because you go into a sequel and you're like, it's a sequel. It's not going to be as good as the first one, and you hope for the best, but usually it's not that great. I still thought this movie was great. I had a blast watching it. It was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah, not as good as the first one, but still really good time.
I think that's probably the first statement that comes to my head is not as good as the first one, but as far as sequels go, very serviceable.
Yeah.
Still had the same vibe, same kind of themes going on, same jokes. Now, like one of the things I said about the first movie that I really liked was it was a very simple story, very confined, like just a revenge kind of a thing. This one expanded on that and got a little bigger, added some more supporting characters, kind of changed a lot, like the narrative of the first one being, like I said, such a simple story. But none of that was necessarily bad for this movie. It just made it a little different, like it felt bigger. You know what I mean?
As a sequel should.
Right. And so all in all, yeah, overall, we'll get into all the reasons why, but I enjoyed Deadpool 2, and the thing that was most fun about it for me was I have not seen this movie in so long, and maybe only once or twice, that like a lot of this felt new to me. Like things that were happening, I was like, that's cool, that's surprising. I didn't know that was like Deadpool 1, I knew every like story beat coming. I've seen it so many times, but part 2 is like, oh man, this is awesome. Deadpool is such a good franchise. Like, wow. So yeah, really enjoyed Deadpool 2. Again, maybe not as much as the first, but had a good time, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this since the theaters. So 2018, I watched it once, and for whatever reason, just never watched it again. So I remembered little moments. I remember kind of some of the action on the convoy. I remember a couple of action beats. I remember Juggernaut was in it. Obviously, Cable was in it, and Domino, and some of the new characters. But I didn't really remember a lot of the joke beats or a lot of those other things, or where the movie was even going. So it was a nice kind of surprise to rewatch it. I agree with both of y'all. It's not as good as the original, but it's still a serviceable sequel. I had fun.
Fun. Fun. Having fun.
So yeah, all in all, it was a good sequel to that, but they started us almost kind of differently because this movie didn't follow the original movie's kind of like broken up narrative. This was a lot more linear of a narrative, but they did kind of open up in the beginning where they're like, we're going to go back 6 weeks and jump around a little bit as to how we got there. And they opened this movie up even before we got to the opening credits with killing Vanessa.
Spoilers.
Oh, well, yeah, it's Spoilers. They killed Vanessa in the first 5 minutes of this movie.
They did.
How does that go down? Is that still shocking? Was that a
Yeah,
good choice to do to kind of like make this
first time I
movie?
saw it, it was shocking. It was like, holy crap. I was like, all right, well, that was a
Mhm.
choice. Yeah, but you need a reason to have another movie, and you know,
Couldn't they
revenge.
just made her a superhero?
Eh,
I think there could have been ways to do this movie with her in it more, but she ended up being in it a lot anyway
Yeah.
because she was featured in a lot of times when he was like on the verge of death and he would see her like in the afterlife or whatever you want to, however you want to interpret that. But yeah, like them killing her right away, I kind of remembered, but I didn't. I like once the dude started breaking in his apartment, I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen. And I like forgot. I'd kind of forgotten. Like my mind was like, oh, Deadpool and Vanessa are gonna be like together in this whole movie. Like, nope. Yeah, I think it was a choice, and it kind of just like you said, gave him motivation to kind of help someone else and be a good person outside of her. So it kind of did like work with the story they're trying to tell. But yeah, it was a little bit of a shock, and it was they made a joke of it immediately by like the opening credits being like, "Did that just happen? Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?" Directed by what the fuck just happened. So that was funny that they could immediately come in with a joke after such like a
Heavy.
hard hitting scene. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it was
But it was
cool.
it was crazy the finality of it. Like she got shot and she was pretty much immediately dead. Like there was
Mm,
no like hanging on
wasn't
there. I
long
mean,
or
they did the
drawn out.
joke at the end of the movie with Deadpool where he just kind of they kept dragging it out. But with her, it was just like she got shot and she was pretty much gone. And it was just like, and they just kind of kept rolling as fast as possible. And it was kind of, they really didn't give you a lot of time outside of those opening credits to be like, wait, did that really just happen? And they
mhm.
kind of
Pretty
used those credits as a way to almost like cement that, like, yeah, we did that.
pretty cool death that he or kill that he had for the guy that shot her.
Mhm.
That was pretty awesome. How he chases him down, car accident, but then he grabs him and hugs him and just turns into traffic. That was pretty great.
Yeah, that was unique. Unique
Yeah,
way to
I was
unique
like,
way
oh,
for someone to kill someone who can't die. So he's
yeah,
like, all right.
Well,
let's do this.
well, and you know, it kind of almost doubles down as like his pain in that because obviously he went on his little suicidal run trying to kill himself. So it was like he was feeling all of that, so he wanted to feel that pain doing that. So it had that extra meaning, that extra layer of almost sadness on top of just kind of being a unique way to kill the guy who killed his girl. So it was kind of like you said, surprising because once again, I forgot. I remember that they killed Vanessa, but outside of that, I don't remember any of the details. So was
Yeah.
interesting.
Then he decides to blow himself up, and then it goes into or was it before? I don't know, the full
Well,
blown James Bond credit sequence in the opening.
well, they
Yeah.
did open it up with the Logan joke and spoiling the end of Logan by saying Wolverine dies in that movie.
Oh yeah. Forgot the music box thing or
Yeah, the
whatever.
little music box with
Yeah.
the with Logan pinned to the tree.
The impaled Logan.
Yeah,
And him even commenting like Logan decided at the end of that movie to kill himself. Well, I'm gonna do that shit too.
yeah, and you
Uh
kind of forget that
right.
that they're basically spoiling the movie for you.
Yeah.
It's deep. Deadpool 2
It
is
is
deep.
deep. It
It's
is
got
deep.
layers.
One of the things I was thinking about, like, and we'll talk about stuff more, but like once he does kill him, he does blow himself up in that house, which is like the first scene they're showing. Then they kind of go back to it and he blows himself up. And Colossus is the one who comes in and like picks up all the pieces and throws them in a bag and like takes them back to the X Mansion.
Hmm.
But then like he's just immediately kind of, I know they wanted to make it seem like time had passed, but he's just back together full size on the couch when later in the movie when his legs get ripped off, it takes like a long time for his little baby legs to grow, but it's just for a joke, which
Yeah.
was which was a hilarious scene. But just
When
like,
when they're at the X Mansion and he's on that couch and Colossus looks back and he's gone, that hard cut to him flying around in the professor's wheelchair kills me every time.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if it's just the camera setup or the hard cut, but all of a sudden it kills me every time to see him flying down the hallway in his
Yeah.
wheelchair.
It was the perfect hard cut.
Oh yeah.
That's just like him doing weird shit, like he did in the first movie, like throwing that hubcap into Francis's face,
Yeah.
like you were talking about. He just does weird shit
Mhm.
all the time. It's like, you're such a weird guy.
It's those small things. Those small things are always the greatest. When like him just flying around the wheelchair shouldn't be funny, but because of the hard cut and because it's
Yeah.
just like how simple it is, you're just like, man, that's just funny. Like, where did he get it from?
Also in that scene, like him more making comments about like, how come the only people I ever see at the X Mansion are you and fucking uh teenage Negasonic Warhead all the time, and then the cameo of the McAvoy era X-Men like shutting the door on him. I still remember when I saw that in theaters and being like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Just like
It's a
it was
great
probably one of the best like little Easter egg cameo things of the entire film.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah,
awesome.
there were a couple of them, but yeah, that one, I remember that being like hilarious. That this
Mhm.
movie was clearly bigger because they had those people in it versus them just talking about McAvoy and talking about them, but they are actually had them there to do a cameo, which was kind of funny. They dressed
Yeah,
that poor dude up like Beast just for that 30 seconds or then
Right.
10 seconds.
7 seconds, right? Yeah.
right. That wasn't like footage used from an X-Men movie. Like, no, they filmed that. They got all those people in there to film that
Yeah.
30-second look at them.
Was J-Law in there?
I'd have to go back and look. I know I saw
I only saw
like
McAvoy and Beast. I can't remember who else was in there.
because that's who your eyes go
Quicksilver's in
to. Who?
it. Was he play Quicksilver? Right.
Oh yeah,
Really good
the
actor from American Horror
American Haunted Story. What's
Yeah.
that show
Peters.
called?
American
Peters.
Horror Story.
American Horror Story. Yeah,
His name
Evan Peters.
Yeah,
Evan Peters.
he
Right?
was in it. Yeah, I remember seeing his face in that brief moment.
He was the best part of those later X-Men movies.
He was great.
And great in WandaVision.
He was great in WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Tony never watched WandaVision.
Oh, I watched WandaVision. I watched the hell out of WandaVision. I was like, wait a second, because I was remembering the other actor who played Wanda's brother in the movie in the
Kick ass.
Avengers. Yeah. And I was like, wait a second. Was he? No, the other guy plays him in that. But in WandaVision, it was actually him. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they kind of did that was a clever crossover thing that they were able to do.
Well, yeah, they had the whole world talk, the whole like nerd community talking that week after he was like the stinger at the end of that episode. Like, what is going on? Evan Peters is in here as Quicksilver, but he's not her Quicksilver. Like, what's happening?
Yeah, it was super clever, and I loved. And this is a weird sidebar that we're taking, but I want to still say it. That WandaVision episode with him that they basically styled after Malcolm in the Middle was the best episode of that show, where it was just like they had that 90s grungy. He was kind of just like the fun uncle who's causing trouble, but it still had heart. Like that was the best episode of that show. And
I think that was the Halloween episode, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So we had some new characters in the show, but we also had the return, as Don was talking about, with the X Mansion. We also had the return of Colossus and Teenage Negasonic Warhead and Yokio.
Hi, Wade. Hi, Yukio.
Hey, Yukio.
Even in the mid credit scene where he popped his head back in there to like, bye Yukio.
Last time.
Yeah.
I really wish this movie would have had more to do for Teenage Negasonic Warhead. Like I'm glad that she was in it, but I really kind of enjoyed her from the first one, and watching this one now so close to the first one and seeing how much she was involved in the first one to how little she was involved in this one was a little disappointing to me. I feel like they could have done a little bit more.
Yeah, she did end up having less than the first movie, which you wouldn't have expected because she was kind of a funny, good character from like her back and forth with Wade in the first one. So yeah. I can agree with that.
They had a couple scenes where they still kind of showed it, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked a little bit more. I was pleasantly surprised to see Dopinder back in all of his glory. He almost cracked me up more than anyone else in this movie. Like he got me genuinely laughing more than, like, we talked about this last week when we talked about Deadpool 1, so you can go back and listen to our thoughts about Deadpool 1. I'm not going to dive too heavy into that outside of this, but we talked about there were a lot of moments where you kind of were like, that's really funny, and you chuckle, but you don't really laugh out loud. You just kind of like, you're just aware that it's funny. And that was how I felt with a lot of this movie. There were only a couple parts that made me laugh out loud, but several of them were Dopinder. just the way he delivered those lines in that like gentle way. And a lot of it was probably the way Deadpool treats him, is just like petting him, and he's like, "You're so gentle," and doing all these things. So those made me laugh. But when they asked him what his superpower was, and he said courage.
No, that was the funniest line in this entire movie.
Yeah.
When he said he wanted to join X-Force,
Yeah.
they're like, "What's your superpower?" And it took him a second. He said, "Courage." I was just like, man, that is the funniest shit I've ever heard. And
Yeah.
Deadpool's just like, okay.
Yeah, you're cute, but get out of here.
Yeah.
No, it was like the best delivered line in the whole movie.
Yeah.
The way he did it and the way it was, and his bloodthirstiness of this movie, like his arc from the first one to the second one is the best out of every character that returned.
Yeah, probably. Like there was less for Blindale, less for Weasel, less for Teenage Negasonic Warhead. Colossus had some stuff, but like Dopinder was probably the best character growth. They like, oh, this character's really funny. We need to do some more jokes with him, like him running alongside them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just Team Dopinder over here.
Yeah, every time he showed up, it was the highlight.
Yeah.
When he ran away at the end saying, "Nope, I'm out." When Juggernaut's like, "I'm gonna shove that soft cab driver up your ass," he was like, "I am soft," and he ran away.
Yeah, that was good.
That was just, he was a great, like I said, Negasonic and Colossus, they came back, but they were mostly doing the same shtick. I enjoyed, it was nice to see them, but yeah, Dopinder was growth all the way, and I enjoyed it. But I also enjoyed the additions of Domino and Cable. I just thought they were both really great additions to this world, as expected from those characters. I mean, Cable and Deadpool I have comic books with the two of them on the cover. I think they had their own run as a Cable and Deadpool comics. Wasn't that a comic? Deadpool and Cable? Didn't they have a run at some point?
They might have had a comic, but I know they do interact quite a bit. They've had a lot of run-ins in comic books, so
which is crazy because they seem like characters that shouldn't.
It's all kind of a Rob Liefeld kind of a thing. He created both those characters, if I'm not mistaken. So
that makes sense.
Them being involved in the whole X-Force era. So they've had a lot of shit together. But yeah, I agree. Good additions to this. Like Domino a lot. Like just I'd forgotten how cool she is of a character, and like him not believing that her luck was a superpower, and her just kind of saying like, "No, it is," and he's like, "No, it's not. Yeah, it is." And us as an audience being like, "What the hell is luck as a superpower?" Then you actually see it in motion, like, oh, everything that could happen bad to her doesn't happen, and she like always gets out of these situations. Like, that's so cool. And that doesn't say anything also about like just Zazie Beetz in general. Like, love that casting.
Oh yes,
love that casting. I can't really say much about it. She's just awesome. Go watch Atlanta and watch anything with her in it. Like she's the best. Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, and it ties in with the action sequences, because once she got involved in that, the smallest things that they did for those action sequences that involved her, where you almost had to pay attention to what they were doing, because there were all those little moments where it was like, no pun intended, I guess, but dominoes falling, and it was just like one thing would lead to the next, and just that confidence that she had, where she's like, you know what, I'm going to leave this truck drive itself so I can go do something. And I just know the truck will be, everything will be okay. And it just, all those action sequences were almost built around her being involved. And it was just, like I said, very cleverly done. And you could just see a lot of thought, and it made it a lot of original ideas in those action sequences that she was involved in, which was really fun to watch versus just a CGI or just a traditional generic action sequence. Like they could have been, they were more because she was involved.
What do you think about Cable and Domino, Tony?
Thought they're great. I mean, Zazie Beetz and anything is awesome, but Domino's character is just a blast. Like you mentioned, her superpower is being, luck, which is, but the whole orphanage scene when she goes to rescue the kids and just everything happening in her favor. And it was an awesome fight sequence, and everything from that line of, "Oh my God, I'm going to need a bus to get these kids out of here." And, half second later, the bus busts through the wall and the kids start sliding down. It's like,
Yeah,
this is cool. This is just a cool character to have on your side.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
she's like, you know, not snarky, but her sarcasm is awesome. You know,
hmm
um, so yeah,
It's
enjoyed
just
her a lot.
confidence.
Yeah,
She's just
for sure.
confident and she owns it, and it's just yeah, it's just perfect addition to this world.
Yeah. And as far as Cable goes, I remember, like I said, I'm not a big reader of comics, but I can remember playing like X-Men video games with you guys, and it was like, oh, Cable's kind of the cool soldier guy with the gun or whatever, and that's all I ever knew about him. And then seeing him in this and hearing that he was going to be in this when the that little Easter egg at the end of the first one, um, and then hearing who was going to play him, it's like, okay, well, this is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a great job. I mean, I was crack him and Deadpool's back and forth. Like, I think, I know we're jumping around right now, but I think one of my favorite
It's what we
lines is,
do.
yeah, is when it's during the the scene on one of the trucks when they're trying to get them out of their their cells in there, and Cable shoots and he kills Black Todd, and he's like, "You killed Black Todd, you racist!" And it was just like, that was one of those moments that I laughed out loud, and I'm like, it was just such an awesome moment. And he calls him a racist again. And he's like, "I'm not a racist, you asshole." And just they're back and forth with each other. That Cable is so unbelievably angry because of what's happened to his family, which rightly so. I get that. You're on a mission now to fix what happened. And that he's dead serious all the time, and Deadpool is just this walking laugh factory. So seeing those two play together was a good time. Yeah.
I think that's kind of going to be a precursor to what we see maybe in the third movie, just like
Yeah.
turned up, because that's what Wolverine is, like the serious one who isn't going to put up with Deadpool's shit. It was just kind of giving you like a preview of what their relationship might be. Um, yeah, Cable. I liked Cable. I like Josh Brolin. How could you not? When you think of Cable,
Perfect.
when you think he's the perfect casting for Cable, of course, but when you think of Cable, you just think of big guns. He's from the future. He time travels.
Metal
The
arm.
metal arm. The one thing they kind of didn't really lean into too hard is Cable in the comics is also like a telekinesis, telekinetic, so like he can move shit with his mind. Uh, they didn't really mess with that too much, but it didn't really need it. I mean, I don't know what he would have really done with that in this movie.
Was that
So
how his gun was moving around sometimes? I thought it was a magnet. I didn't realize he had any telekinetic things.
yeah, that I didn't pick that up, but that might be if he was moving shit around, maybe they were doing it a little bit.
Like sometimes his gun like flung back over him or something, and he caught it
Yeah.
midair or something. Like,
Yeah,
oh, was
because
I,
it,
I assumed it was technology, and even knowing that, I didn't make that connection.
okay.
Very well could have been. It could have been the thought process behind that is that he could do those things. I just thought it was his fancy future technology doing stuff. It was badass regardless of what it was.
Yeah.
yeah, because in the comics he's like the future son of Cyclops and Jean Grey. So like
Oh,
his mutant power technically is the telekinetic shit, but he didn't really mess with that too much in this film. But besides that, I mean, done perfectly for an on-screen Cable. Who else you gonna have? Like it was just pretty damn good. Looked great. Loved it.
Now, do we see any of these characters in Deadpool and Wolverine?
I hope
I think so.
you put Zazie Beats in anything. Good time.
Yeah, I'll be there. Um, but yeah, like, do we see her? I mean, obviously, I'm not aware. I've tried to stay away as far away from the marketing campaign for this film as possible, so I don't know if they've. But I mean, like, I feel like
Well,
I want to see Domino, Cable, Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Yokio, Dopinder. Like, I want to see these
Pinder's
characters in
got to
this
be
movie.
in it.
Dopinder's got to be in this movie, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I think I've tried to stay for away from the marketing too, but I did see the initial trailer, and I know for a fact that there is a scene early in this movie where it's like his birthday party and all
Yeah.
his friends are there.
Okay, I do
So
I did
remember
see him.
that.
He's wearing a wig, right?
yeah, he's
Yeah.
wearing a wig. I think they
I've
make
seen
it seem
that.
like he's trying to live a normal life or something now, and so I know everyone's gonna be in it. Like how much they're gonna be in it, they probably do want to focus very heavily on Hugh Jackman and Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds for
I'm
the
I'm
bulk of the
sure
movie.
it's gonna spiral from there. So yeah, I can imagine just a big cameo filled opening scene and then we jump into
Right.
what this movie is. So that makes sense. But
Is the
hmm
TVA super involved in this right?
Yes.
Because I wasn't sure how it was going to work. Like I knew that they were, because obviously they're talking about in this world, this Wolverine, and you're my Wolverine, and this. So I didn't know if it was going to have something to do with the TVA, if it was going to have something to do with the fact that the credits Easter egg in this was him having Cable's time travel device, and he was going to start changing shit around. So
I believe that's the whole point, was that they took a mid-credits joke and were able to tie it in and bring him into the MCU through a joke they did in a mid-credit scene. That was my interpretation.
It seems like to us they are bringing in the TVA, which who those who watched Loki know, like, is the time travel authority group in the MCU.
Variant done. Jesus.
Whatever. But
because Vanessa was back, so she's a variant.
He totally messed with time there in the ending credits and brought back Vanessa and did all kinds of shit he wasn't supposed to do. So that's what the TVA does, is come in to punish those who have screwed with timelines. So Deadpool 3, like me and Chris have talked about before, Deadpool and Wolverine was really born of a joke they made that just to make us laugh at the end of Deadpool 2. It's like, oh, we got a script for Deadpool 3 now because he's in the MCU. It's like pretty weird and crazy. How it's kind of working out that way. Yeah.
I really hope we get a scene somewhere with Deadpool and Miss Minutes. I feel like that has the opportunity to be kind of funny.
Could be something.
She's got to be in it, right? I mean, if the TVA is involved.
Who is Miss Minutes?
She's the little cartoon clock.
Did you watch Loki?
Didn't you watch Loki? I thought you watched Loki.
I watched the first season. I didn't watch the second season.
Well, second season was terrible, but she was in the first season.
I don't remember her.
It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
All right. Well,
mostly. Anyway,
so this whole thing starts because his girlfriend gets killed. They were just making babies. That was how this whole thing kicked off.
Getting ready to make babies.
Yeah.
They might have. They had no pants on. They might have already done it.
The anniversary, she takes out her IUD, and they decided they're going to make a family, and then she gets killed. He gets depressed, and then they go to this call because he's at the X Mansion, and there's a call to help out some mutant kid, and that's where they introduce I forget his actual name, but Fire Fist.
Russell. Yeah, the other two big additions to this movie, besides who we just said, Domino and Cable, is Russell, Fire Fist, and then also Juggernaut, I guess.
Yeah.
Which we kind of talked about in our last episode. It was really cool to see a different Juggernaut that wasn't just like a badly written Vinnie Jones character from X3. But yeah, Russell is kind of I don't know if he's a character from comics or anything. I think he seemed more like just like written for this film to give Deadpool a reason to care, like troubled mutant, another troubled mutant like him, trying to lead the way and trying to be a good guy for a change. It's funny.
I text you guys a picture of Miss Minutes, so he's laughing at it.
Oh, okay.
It says now. As soon as I looked down and saw, I was like, "Oh, I remember that clock." Okay,
yeah,
I remember that Lady Southern clock.
Yeah, who's kind of evil.
Yeah, seemed a little mean.
Russell was fine in this. I mean, he was a needed character for kind of the narrative. I was just mostly excited for Juggernaut, like we kind of talked about. It was really cool to finally see in live action, even though it was just a big CGI thing, but that's what Juggernaut would be. Like Hulk is a big CGI thing, so why not Juggernaut? And then like the coolest part of that to me is of course it was all CGI, and even Deadpool makes a joke about it, like here comes the big CGI fight, but like Colossus versus Juggernaut is just a fight as kids we would always talk about, because like Juggernaut's the biggest X-Men villain and the biggest, strongest one, and who's the strongest person on the roster of the X-Men? It's Colossus. So those two got to fight. That's the best fight you could ever see. So for them to do that in a movie is like, yes, my little,
in a rated R movie on top of it, like where they could really lean into that and not just do it. It was that Juggernaut, I feel the same way I felt about Colossus being in the first one. It's just like, holy shit, I'm getting a real version of Juggernaut in a movie where he can be vulgar and rip people in half like the Juggernaut really would. And like you said, just not be Vinnie Jones.
Right. Yeah.
calling people bitch everywhere in X-Men 3. I just
I don't remember. I don't
he just
remember.
kept calling everyone a bitch.
All I know is he wore a mask where you could see his face. It was like, come
Yeah.
on, man. Juggernaut has a full helmet, not Vinnie Jones's face. Just like, hello, I'm Juggernaut. Like, come on, man.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Juggernaut is not Vinnie Jones's face.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed. You know what I really enjoyed about this movie, almost to a larger degree from the first one, is that this one to me felt a lot less obvious when they were using CGI. I mean, obviously Colossus and Juggernaut were CGI, but it didn't at the same time look as heavy computers. Like everything seemed like they had a little bit of extra polish on it. But a lot of the action sequences felt a lot more practical to me.
At times I do remember thinking like during some scenes during like when Domino's running from the bus flipping in the air, I was like, ooh, that's really computerized. But like
Yeah.
it has to be. Like this isn't a Nolan film or something, but
I think all I saw was Zazie Beetz there, and I don't remember anything else.
She had you mesmerized there,
Yeah,
buddy.
I don't remember anything else of that scene but her running.
Hey man, lean into it.
What are you gonna
Lean
do?
into it.
That is what I am doing. But I thought, like I said, I thought they did a really good job, and to me, like I said, it felt almost better. The hand to hand, a lot of I don't know, the action was just kind of a little bit more badass. Cable catching that car door and smacking someone with it. Like some of the sequences were just so badass in this movie.
Especially in the beginning when he was like he went international to kill people.
Yeah.
And like that one scene where he's chasing the dude who locks himself in the panic room, and in the back Wolverine, Deadpool's just like killing people in these crazy ways, just in the back, and it's just awesome. That was some awesome like
Opening montage.
way to kick off the movie. Deadpool just fucking people up in other countries, and yeah, the action was really good in this one also.
Yeah,
Right.
Great. Every action sequence was a great time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shoot them up, slice them up. Yeah, crack some jokes. It was a good time.
Dice them up. Let's talk about those baby legs. How'd the humor land in this one? Obviously, I didn't remember a lot of these jokes. Did anyone really stand out? I forgot that he did the baby leg thing, the basic instinct cross with the thing. Cable was killing me in that scene. I did laugh out loud at that. I remember sitting in the theater in tears. I was trying really hard not to do my real laugh in the theater during that. Because it's not for theater use is my real laugh. But
what's the guy? Is it TJ Lavin?
TJ Miller?
TJ Miller. So
TJ
I don't know why that. I don't know what. I don't know. TJ Miller. He just kept saying shirt cocking, and it wasn't funny at first, and then the more he said it, it was just like too far, and then it started making me laugh. But then when he starts walking, you just hear TJ Miller. He's like, he's doing it, and it fucking killed me when he let that out.
He's doing it.
He's doing it.
He's oh my God, he's doing it. He's doing it.
Such a badass move.
But just like Cable's reaction to the legs and everything, just like, oh, just like it's like the Hank Hill to Bobby thing, like, oh, you know what I mean? Just like general disgust of what's he's seeing in front of him, like Jesus Christ.
But he stood there like respecting it at the same time.
Yeah,
it's just Josh Brolin being a badass, where he's just like, I'm disgusted, but I'm going to stand here and I'm going to continue what we're doing here, even though you're being ridiculous. Yeah, that was
that's one of the ones that got me to laugh out loud for sure. So yeah, I think the joke still hit. I think it's similar to what we said about the first one. A lot of it was smiles and like, oh man, you know, it's funny. And then sometimes you just get one where you just laugh out loud, and it was like a belly laugh. It felt really good. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them, they're just quick. They're quick, so it's hard to almost give anyone its time because you're missing other ones if you're laughing.
I already said the joke that made me laugh the most was the Dopinder saying courage is his superpower. But like the other one that got me for no reason, because just like I don't know why, it's not even that funny, but like when they're in the jail and Deadpool finally gets his power dampener off, and like he's fighting Cable, and one of the guns slides on the ground, and it goes to Deadpool, and he picks it up and he turns that knob to make it an 8, and he's just like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, that was close to the equivalent. I thought about this. That was almost as good. It was a similar feeling to when Teenage Negasonic Warhead first said her name. His reaction of what to his face when he cranked that thing up of ooh. It was that moment.
Yeah.
It
was just like, oh, yes, that's hilarious.
Yeah. I did enjoy Russell and his prison wallet. Every time they said prison wallet, I did laugh as he kept pulling shanks out of his ass.
It's just always did I miss that joke?
They made it a bunch of times. They made it when I don't know if Russell said it first, but he talked about how he smuggled a shank in there. And then Deadpool said something about
the old prison wallet.
The old prison wallet. And then he walked around and he said, I hear you digging around in here. And then he had his little ass shank that that Deadpool kept talking about throughout the whole rest of the movie because the kid kept producing it. But even when that kid was standing there in prison and he's just like, pick the biggest, and they just kept punching the kid in the face. They're punching the kid in the face, and he's just trying to just be this badass, and it was just a lot of that got me too.
I remember him saying, like, I hear you rummaging around back there.
Yeah, that was him digging in his prison wallet. But yeah, I never heard the phrase prison wallet before. And hearing that in there and how many times they went back to that well, it did make me chuckle or laugh at various levels, depending on when it was used. I did enjoy the Thanos joke. It was very quick.
Yep.
But just to him just calling him Thanos right before they went into the orphanage, it's just kind of one where you're like, Thanos. Ah.
There's a couple. He calls him. I think he calls him One-Eyed Willie at one point, which was pretty great too. Little Goonies reference in there. Yeah.
A lot of meta jokes. Like again, like the first one, like he's being all brooding, and he says, "Are you from the DC universe?"
Yeah.
Made a lot of references to DC, Marvel, because even at the time this was not a Marvel movie. He mentioned Hawkeye, he mentioned Black Widow, he called Domino Black Widow one time, and that made me laugh. Just like that stuff wasn't out of bounds to this movie at that time. This was not part of the MCU, but they don't care. They talk about DC and everything, and just more of the same from the first one, just kind of turned up.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely still worked. I don't know if it worked as well because it was still the same, but yeah, it still had some really good spots. And I don't know. I don't even know if I could not say that it didn't work as well. It still worked. I did need to remember what dubstep was because they went back to that well quite a few times, and I was like, I don't remember dubstep.
It's just like a whoa, 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 whoa. It's just like a music style.
Yeah. It's like electronical bass stuff.
But it was definitely a product of the time. Is dubstep still a thing?
Yeah, I think so. Isn't EDM and dubstep kind of similar?
Yeah, they're like the same thing. Okay. We're old. We're not hip. We don't know these things.
I'm not with it or down.
And that's fine. But
speaking of music, I didn't notice this any other time I've seen this movie is that the song during Juggernaut and Colossus's fight. Did you guys catch the lyrics at all?
When they were just saying, holy shit, holy shit,
yeah,
holy shit.
I don't know how I never noticed it before. It's like this operatic orchestra piece, and it's just like holy shit balls is just being repeated over and over again.
Yeah. That's I didn't catch great.
That. It's because you're probably watching on FX and they probably changed the song.
You watched it on basic cable, Don?
No, Tony. You said you always catch it on TV.
Oh, you're right. It probably was on TNT or something. I was just catching it. You're right.
Yeah,
they probably
can't watch this. You can't watch this movie edited. There's too much there.
Well, and that goes back to, and granted, I don't think any of us actually watched it. You sent a clip today, but they did do a PG-13 version of this movie that they dropped for Christmas time. Tony shared with us the clip with him and Fred Savage arguing about Nickelback,
which made sense to whatever Nickelback documentary you were talking about the other day.
It does make sense,
right?
I wonder if that's the scene that's probably in that documentary, and he's probably not actually in it.
Maybe they just love Deadpool because he backed them up in that little...
Right.
Because they're all Canadian.
Even though we all know it's like a joke making fun of them. Like, still.
Is it?
You know what I mean?
Is it, though?
It is. Come on, we know it is.
He
Ryan
was
Reynolds
spitting
don't-
facts. He was spitting facts
Uh,
in that. But yeah, I was definitely. I still want to actually watch the 3D or PG-13 3D version, the PG-13 version of this movie, just to kind of see what jokes they did to like cover things up. Because I mean, there was clearly heavy violence in this movie, and I'm curious of how they did that.
mm.
You know, when he got ripped in half by Juggernaut, like how does that? Did they blur him out?
They could probably do everything but change the like red scale of all the CGI to like neon blue, and it wouldn't look nearly as violent. It would just look like a big paintball thing went on, you know?
You know what subtle joke made me laugh? And I don't even know if it was a joke, but it still made me laugh was at the end of the movie when Deadpool goes to talk with Russell and Russell kind of basically blows him up, like sets him on fire, that they turned his suit gray, like an old cartoon where you get set on fire and then you're like blink, blink, blink in your eye. You're just like all charcoal and you just all you can see are the cartoon's eyes. And I feel like they did his suit like that on purpose to make
Well,
it look like he just got set on fire.
it could be, but my interpretation kind of that is comic nerd shit. But like Deadpool in X-Force, if you've ever read the most recent X-Force with Rick Remender when he did his team of X-Force, they all have like gray and black suits. So I kind of thought they maybe made him look like that because that's one of Deadpool's X-Force suits. Like Wolverine is on that team and he has a gray and black suit. Psylocke, Archangel, maybe Archangel wasn't on the team, but like it's a famous X-Force look, that gray and black. So I thought maybe that was like a nudge to that, like a little different look for Deadpool. Who knows? I
But
don't
it
know.
came after he was set on fire.
I know it's probably your old fucking Steamboat Mickey shit. I don't know. Um, and just I know we wanted to talk about it just a little bit, but X-Force in
That's what
general.
I was about to say. You brought up X-Force. Let's talk about X-Force being in this movie.
You said Juggernaut ripping Deadpool in half. Okay. Then the other big thing with X-Force that happened was them all falling out of the sky and them all dying. And like we get the Brad Pitt cameo, we get all that funny shit. Like it's unexpected.
Terry Crews.
I'm convinced that the Suicide Squad ripped off Deadpool too. I don't know if either of you have seen Deadpool in a long time, but that was their whole big joke at the beginning of the Suicide Squad is like that whole team dies. King Shark is ripping people in half, just like Juggernaut. Like James Gunn, did you rip off Deadpool too?
Sounds like it.
I don't know. That's like just a theory, but
it's the same joke. I mean, it is the same joke. It's a team of heroes going in there, and you're expecting they're going to be badass, and they suck. And shit goes wrong, and you're expecting them to be the heroes, and they're not. They all fail and die, and it's the same joke. So yes, you are right. It was a ripoff,
it was
whether
just a way to
purposeful or not.
It was a way to get Terry Crews in your movie and the Skarsgård brother, who I totally forgot was in
Bill.
this.
Yeah, I did. I forgot about all. I forgot about all of the X-Force stuff.
Forgot about Peter.
I forgot about Peter. And when I saw him diving out of the thing, looking all serious as he was flying through the sky, I was like, "That's the meme Tony always sends when he wants us to play Warzone."
Yeah, him falling through the sky is a perfect meme.
Oh yeah. It's great.
Him just looking serious. Yeah, I enjoyed all of Peter and Dopinder being mad that Peter was allowed in the club.
Right.
Come on.
The X-Force stuff was interesting. I mean, it was all there just to make that scene, that joke of them all dying and not expecting it.
And to bring Domino in.
Domino, that was a way to bring in Domino. The only real person I think they kind of used was Shatterstar from comics. So I was kind of sad about that. I was like, Shatterstar's a cool character. You guys just killed him off that quick. But yeah, when it was Terry Crews, we should have known like, they're all gonna die. He's not gonna be in this movie. But yeah, it was just kind of a way to set up a funny, quote unquote, shocking scene that you don't expect. Yeah, get some cameos. Like I said, Brad Pitt's in the movie for 10 seconds.
If that.
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. The X-Force stuff, like you said, just brought in Domino, kind of.
Well, and it sets us up for Deadpool Wolverine and just the idea of cameos, because you know Deadpool Wolverine's going to be insane with cameos in a ridiculous manner. So just almost giving you like a little bit like, you think this is something? Wait, just wait.
Yeah. Was there anyone besides Brad Pitt and Matt Damon in this?
Matt Damon was in this?
Matt Damon's one of the hillbillies that Cable
Was he?
truck.
I don't remember that.
No,
I
he
remember the
wasn't. Are you
Hillbillies. I
serious?
didn't know Matt Damon was one.
Yeah, Matt Damon's the dude who's talking the whole time. Yeah, it's Matt Damon and then Brad Pitt. I was trying to think if anybody else had like a little thing.
Nothing
Terry
comes to
Crews.
mind.
Terry
Yeah,
Crews.
Besides Terry Crews, that
And
doesn't.
I mean, the McAvoy and the little
Yeah.
X-Men cameos. But yeah, probably Damon and Pitt are probably the biggest out of left field cameos.
See, I don't believe you that was Matt Damon. I have to look that up. I don't think that's true.
Oh my god, just Google Matt Damon Deadpool 2.
I'll do it later.
I believe you
If
only
you watch
because
that scene now, knowing that it's him, you're like, oh my god, it's obviously him.
the fact that they let him talk so long about ass wiping techniques makes me
Yeah.
believe you that there's no other reason for someone to talk that much about that if it wasn't Matt Damon.
It would have been weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because if that is him, which I do believe you, I'm just kidding around. But
Yeah.
like he does cameos in the MCU too, as like the stage version of Loki. Whenever
Yeah,
they,
so yeah, you're right.
So he's done that a couple times. So it's like you probably can't get him in one of these movies to star. He doesn't want to do it, but he's like, oh yeah, I'll come be in your movie for 10 seconds and just make a fucking joke.
Yeah.
He would be weird. Like, what would you do with Matt Damon in the MCU?
I'm sure they could find something.
I mean,
for him.
obviously you could always find something, but I don't know. There's some people who I feel like
He
are
could
too
be a
big.
guy working in the TVA in a department or something.
But that would still just be like a cameo joke thing. You still couldn't make
you're
him
talking about like a leading superhero
like
or
a
something?
leading role in any of these shows or movies. Like you just couldn't. He's too big. It's like taking
Ben
Leonardo
Affleck won't let him.
DiCaprio and being like, "Hey, lead a superhero movie." You're like, that doesn't work. With some people are just too big. Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I just think anyway. But I can't say Ben Affleck was Batman. So
yeah, so you never know.
You never know.
Maybe
know.
Matt Damon's going to be Dr. Doom. We'll see. He won't be.
I'm still voting on Adam Driver.
Mm.
Did they already announce a casting for Dr. Doom? Giancarlo Esposito?
No, he's in Captain America as a different guy.
Oh yeah, he is.
Right.
We never talked about that trailer.
We didn't. Kind of upset. Did you both watch that trailer? The new one, Captain America?
Yeah.
So I'm sure the world has seen it. I'm still kind of upset that they showed Red Hulk at the end of it. Like giving away
their big reveal, right?
Yeah.
It was the last frame.
Yeah.
It's like he could have held on to that one for a little while, but
should have held on to it the whole time. You should have you should have never shown Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Should let that be a surprise. We all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk more about Captain America and whatever the subtitle of that movie is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we kind of were wrapping up our conversation, just talking about which we've kind of already dipped into a little bit here and there, but just the time travel aspect of this movie. We had Cable going back in time, and then he's also using it in the resolution of the film because he obviously Deadpool's able to save Russell at the end of this film, save his soul, stop him from killing the dude who's in all the Guy Ritchie movies. You know what? This is going to be a weird story, but I went to a housewarming party for one of my coworkers a couple weeks ago, and she had like a moon bounce water slide. So I was always going down that, but there was one family brought like their little kids. There was a little kid. He was like maybe 2. He looked like that dude just as a child. And that's all I could think about was that actor running up and down this slide. Every time I saw that little kid's face, that's who I pictured.
You're so weird.
That's what he looked like. But like we went through this whole scene. Obviously, that Cable has one bullet left. He goes to shoot Russell to try to kill him to save his family. Deadpool takes the bullet, Clint Eastwood style, and then saves Russell's soul. And then he uses his fuel to go back in time only to the beginning of the scene to put the skee ball token in the way of the bullet versus going back and being with his family. So you had this scene, but we also had this like very prolonged death scene with Deadpool where he kept faking death. It was very Pee Wee Herman-esque in Buffy the Vampire Slayer where he just kept dying.
Right.
Over and they even brought that back at the post credits that he was still dying slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Did it feel like you almost we sat through that full prolonged death scene to then like rewind the movie and then almost just make that irrelevant. That
A
feel a
little
little
bit.
hollow.
A little bit, I think. Uh, they just wanted that scene in there for comedy. Him dying, taking a long time. We all know they're not killing Deadpool. Come on.
Right.
Is that
But
where he finally gets Colossus to say fuck?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it was all for humor.
Jokes. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it was all for humor. My biggest thing with the time travel stuff, my biggest question to you guys is like it being used again, then also in that mid-credit scene, like we already kind of touched on him going back and doing stuff, doing jokes, like killing his first appearance as Wade and Origins, which was funny. Then obviously killing himself reading the Green Lantern script, which is super funny. But the biggest thing was like the first thing he did was save Vanessa. So she's just alive.
Yeah.
Does that feel a little like anticlimactic for the whole movie? Like it was just done so quickly and just like, oh, the whole movie that she's been dead for and he's been like having trouble dealing with, like all of a sudden it's just fixed in 10 seconds in this mid-credit scene and sorry guys, she's alive, guys. Tricked you. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but like, what else did you expect him to do? You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
It's
I see
hard
what
to
you're saying.
it's hard to like we'll never get an answer to that question because one thing is we have no idea what Deadpool 3 would have looked like. So yes, if Deadpool 3 was started and she was just alive and they ignored that or made a couple jokes about it and you moved on, yes, it would have really taken away from Deadpool 2. The fact that Deadpool 3 that we're getting is Deadpool Wolverine, which they're going to tie all of that into, almost then makes it cool.
Because
So
she's definitely alive. I saw her in trailers at that
yeah.
party. So she's gonna be in, she's like alive.
So like I get what you're saying, and yes, if you take this movie for what it is and don't, it is a little like kind of like, really? You're just gonna fix it like that?
Right.
But it's like so hard to know because it would have been like one of those things where it happened in a mid-credits joke. So you're just like, was that real?
Right.
And then if we would have got a Deadpool 3 produced by Fox and she was just alive and they just, like you said, cracked a joke about it, I feel like it would have hurt it. Deadpool 2, just that whole plot thread. The way that they're going to do it now with the TVA makes me feel like it's going to work and I'm going to be glad they did it. So it's a really hard question to answer for me.
It was, yeah, I'm not upset about it. Like I like Vanessa. I was mad she died, but that was the whole point of Deadpool 2 is that she's gone and he has to figure out ways to live life without her and live his life for this new family. And then she's just back because now he can time travel a little bit. Like, okay.
Yeah, but then that opens
the problem with any time travel movie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I need to go back to fix something that's wrong. And then you get to the end, it's like, all right, well, I fixed it and everything's normal again. So, I mean, it's just, it's what it is.
Because if we open that door a little bit more, then that means the movie didn't happen.
Right. None of that happened.
So yes. So that means he doesn't know Russell. Like he knows Russell because obviously it's the same Deadpool.
Or does he have to go to Russell on his own now without being summoned by Colossus to fix this to make sure? Yeah. That's a whole Pandora's box of time travel movies and what.
Yeah.
That's
not to pull those threads.
I was entertained and I'm fine with it.
Which is why the whole current state of the MCU is confusing because they based the whole thing on time travel in multiple universes and multiple things.
When they didn't do it in a way that was like logical, they had everybody have their own version of the multiverse and it wasn't connected as it should have been. So you had Spider-Man doing his multiverse adventure, you had Doctor Strange doing his multiverse adventure, you had the Eternals doing their thing, you had Loki doing his thing, and none of it was tied in. I thought that was gonna, when Jonathan Majors showed up in Loki and he was like, and shit started happening, I was like, okay, here we go. And then they never talked about that again in any of the movies. And you're like, what are we doing here? Like, if you were going to have a multiversal rift across a cinematic universe, then that should be the rift that caused all these problems. But instead, they made separate movies and they all gave them their own reasons to have a rift. And you're just like, wait, is this the same problem?
Like we talked about, Kang should have been in Spider-Man. Kang should have been in Doctor Strange. Keep it all cohesive, and that's, I don't know, but yeah, time travel themes do get iffy and clumsy and shit. So
Well, and that's not even time travel. We're talking multiverse. That's a whole other fucked up thing that
right.
can get confusing and make no sense. So it's really hard to want to try to break that all down. And what's funny is that Deadpool is going to come in and make it right, and that's the most ridiculous thing ever. Like
Isn't
the
that
MCU
funny?
people, yeah, MCU people are like MCU's dead. It hasn't been the same. Deadpool is going to come in and make things okay, and you're just like, this is a crazy world we live in.
I just saw a quote from Kevin Feige, which of course he's gonna gas up all these movies. He says every single one of them is the best thing he's ever seen. But he said, like, if you're talking MCU impact in general, he was like, if Infinity War or if Endgame was a 10 in impact and Infinity War was a 9 in impact to the entire MCU, he was like, Deadpool Wolverine, probably an 8. So he's trying to say like this movie is gonna have a bigger impact on anything you've seen since those movies. And it's like, really? Deadpool and Wolverine? Like
It
Hugh
shouldn't.
Jackman?
It shouldn't. There's
Yeah.
that's a flaw in his universe that he created, is the fact that Deadpool Wolverine is going to have that much of an impact on the world that you created. And you know why? It's because he's probably going to erase a bunch of the shit because they had to figure out what to do with Kang. Um, so they need to. That's like I said, it's not a good thing, but I'm excited
Well,
for it.
it'll be a good thing if the movie's good. That's what I'm
It'll be a
hoping
good thing for us. It's bad for him.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be saying
for. Yeah.
that.
Anyway,
But yeah, that's interesting. Interesting. So let's get to some final thoughts about Deadpool 2. I think we've kind of ran this conversation into the ground and talked enough about Deadpool 2 and Deadpool Wolverine, which we are hoping to see next week.
this week.
And excited. This week, I guess. We're excited for that. Any final thoughts on Deadpool 2 before we sail off into the night?
I got everything out that I had to say. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, thought it was a good sequel.
Yeah. As far as sequels go, good. Not as good as the original, but pretty damn close. Like if they can cap off this third one, it'll be a solid trilogy,
Yeah.
and that doesn't happen all the time. So looking forward to it. And Deadpool 2 is a nice little, part 2 to a great movie and a great movie of its own.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I said, like we said in the beginning, it's been a minute since we watched this movie, and it was nice to sit down and watch it in all of its glory and kind of get ready now. I watched Deadpool 1 and 2. I'm ready for 3, and we'll see what the MCU and Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool has in store for us this upcoming week. I'm excited.
Let's get ready to make the fucking chimichangas.
Couldn't have said it better myself. What did you think about Deadpool 2? How excited are you for Deadpool Wolverine? You know how to hit us up over on social media at Raised A Geek. Send us an email, raisedageek@gmail.com. You can also rate and review the show. It helps us out, so we appreciate all those 5-star reviews that you all have coming in for us. Drop a comment, let us know where you're writing in from, and we might just talk about it on the show. Did I get all distorted when I got real close?
Not when you did it originally, but when you asked if it got distorted, it got distorted.
Okay. Well, that's how we know it's time to go. So that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raised the Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
And I'm Tony.
And thanks for checking out the show.
Where geek is all we speak.